looks like the start of another floor. Oh yeah, 'tis that time again. Nothing like Monday night Lego builds. Get the week started out right. I'm amused by how much of this like turquoisey blue is in the set. Yeah, this is kind of the color they're going with for those walls. There's a really distinctly colored kind of wall here on this second story. If you remember, it's kind of out there in the movie. Ah, there it is. The moment that we've been waiting for. It's Buzz's tarantula. That's great. All right. Okay, ready to roll. So it looks like we're just kind of starting with the base right now, just the floor a little bit. 2, 3, 8. You know, one thing that John Hughes was really, really, really good at was writing really incredibly spiteful child characters in movies. And this is a theme that isn't just in Home Alone, but in a John Hughes movie, kids will use like really coarse language and they talk to their parents like dogs. And it's funny, but now, going back as an adult and watching, especially the first Home Alone, Kevin absolutely talks to his mother like she is trash. and it's funny because as a kid, I'm too busy like empathizing with Kevin over how badly he's been treated, and I feel bad for Kevin and all this. But as an adult, I'm like, oh my God, this is insane how he's speaking to this woman. He's absolutely giving her down the road. Maybe John Hughes had some pent-up resentment for some of the adults in his life. Maybe that was like a vehicle for him to kind of tell him off. Yeah, I'd say you don't. I'd say you got over that one a few years ago, for sure. Yeah, Kevin, he's kind of a little jerk in that first movie, especially. Now, in the second movie, I think there's much more of an attempt to make him kind of like truly marginalized, and he's kind of accused of a crime he didn't commit kind of thing, which, yeah, he does ruin the recital thing, but Buzz is the catalyst and Buzz doesn't get in any trouble. So I think they tried in Home Alone 2 to like smooth that over a little bit, but there's no getting around it in the first Home Alone movie. I mean, he is a little jerk, an absolute little jerk. But, I mean, I think that it's supposed to be that way. I think it's great because, I mean, it would make sense, right? That he should be kind of a kid with an edge if he's really going to give these, like, professional criminals, like, a hard time in this movie. I guess it only makes a certain amount of sense, so. If he was, like, a passive, like, real happy kid, like, then I think it would seem disingenuous when he's able to rig up these, well, honestly, these sadistic traps for these guys. I think this way you're like, oh yeah, that kid. Did you see how he talked to his mom at the beginning of the movie? Yeah, he's rough. RUFF. All right, getting the floor. And there's so many varieties of these tan pieces because they're all different sizes that this is really easy to screw up. So hopefully I don't realize I've screwed up here in a few minutes. Usually I really can't stand this part of builds where you're doing the inner workings and that kind of thing. But for this one, it seems like that's not so bad. Even when you're doing like inner workings, like parts of the builds, it feels like floors and things come together really, really fast. And that's not a problem. At least that's the way it feels. That could just be me being hyped for this Home Alone set. Maybe I'm not feeling any pain or something when I put this together. All right. Oh, almost goofed up. There we go. Yeah, I've never seen Catch Me If You Can, but I know the gist of it. But I always heard it was excellent, especially if Kevin McAllister is presumably the main character. It's funny. I was just talking about Kieran, his brother, who played Fuller in the movie, and sure enough, if I'm not confused or something, I'm pretty sure he just hosted Saturday Night Live this past weekend. So that was really funny. I'm just gonna say that he was on Saturday Night Live to promote this Lego set. Don't think that's right, but hey, I'm gonna say that's why he was there. He was Fuller was there to represent. We all know that celebrities make promotional appearances for stuff all the time, like on talk shows and things. But would it not be hilarious if celebrities would show up to promote like just the release of a Lego set of something, like based on something they've been in? That's all they're there to do. They don't have any new project coming out or anything like that. They're there to talk about the Lego set, talk about how much they like the Lego set and how much you need to buy the Lego set. Or like an action figure. Like they show up to promote the figure. Like I have this brand new figure coming out. It's very impressive. Everyone needs to go out and buy it immediately. I mean, this is probably a bizarro world that only I would live in, but still. For me, that's life, arranging into its proper form. When people are on national television promoting toys, that's what society needs to be aiming for, I think. When I run for president, they're gonna dig these clips back up. Yeah, that's it. It's like those memes where it's like, if I won the lottery, I wouldn't tell anybody, but you would know. And then it shows whatever. I think my favorite version of that is the one where it shows the person has made their house in a Castle Grayskull. That would probably be me. Like, I wouldn't say it, but it would be pretty obvious that I'd won. Yeah, if they made a cereal. Yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here for the cereal. I remember Home Alone having I think there was some cereal going on in the early 90s, at least for Home Alone 2. I think there was some pretty big cereal promotions. But to me, nothing will ever be better than the Addams Family movie cereal promotion, where you could get flashlights of all the main characters. There were these cool little like flashlights that were actually like shrink wrapped, I think, onto the box. And a few years ago, I did some research into that, and I almost got online and bought several like sealed boxes of that cereal so that I could get some of those flashlights. The only one I ever had was the Lurch flashlight, and I thought it was like an incredible cereal promo, and it really was. That's a bygone era of cereal promotions, I think the last time I saw something cool that I could get with cereal had to be, I guess it was during the Dark Knight Rises or something. They had these like chibi figures of the main cast that you could get, and then from the whole Dark Knight trilogy, you could collect them in these cereal boxes, and they were actual pack-ins. You didn't have to like send off for them, and that was really cool. I mean, I think they would be shocked by how much more profit there is, and like actually doing these physical little things that you get with the cereal. I think they would be surprised by just how much people would still respond to that. Because when I was a kid, I was all about those freebies. which, I'm sure they weren't free. We were probably paying for them outright, really. Probably shown up in the retail price, I'm sure. As soon as that promotion was over, they probably went on sale for half the cost. We just never realized it. I also remember there being these Ninja Turtle cereal bowls that I think you actually had to send off for those. And I think with the Spider-Man, the animated series cereal, I think you sent off for a Spider-Man bowl with so many proofs of purchase. And I believe that Mom did that. And I could be completely wrong, but I sort of think we never got anything, which seemed to happen all the time when I was a kid. We would send off for something, and you would just never hear back from it. Like the promotion, you would never get anything. And it seemed to happen a lot. Of course, that was in the era of if, you were going to order something from like JCPenney Christmas catalog or something like that, you would be getting a money order like from the gas station or something, and then sending it off in an envelope and hoping that they would get it. And then if you didn't hear anything for so long, you would eventually call JCPenney customer service to see if they had received the money order. So, and I swear, I think that you could tell a kid something like that today, and they probably just wouldn't know what to think. They'd probably think that you were joking, but no, that's the way it was. I think the closest that we had to like instant gratification when it came to buying stuff from a catalog was, I remember there was this place, and you all may remember it. It was called Service Merchandise. There was one in Lexington, Kentucky, which definitely isn't exactly local for me, but it was the closest one I'd ever known of. And apparently you would order the stuff somehow or another, and then you would go there to get it. And it was almost like a little warehouse, I guess. But maybe I was little and I didn't understand how service merchandise worked. But that's what I got from it. And believe it or not, there were several exclusive Star Wars figures from Power of the Force 2 that you could only get at Service Merchandise. And I don't know if that was like just a timed exclusive. I think seems like Princess Leia and like her Bespin get up, maybe. Or maybe it was the Echo Base get up. It was one of those. That was exclusive, I think, to Service Merchandise for a while. So that's kind of insane, but it was a thing. I mean, it was definitely a thing. I think Mom, she might have bought something from Service Merchandise one time. And it was, I'll tell you where it is, or where it used to be. I don't think Service Merchandise is a thing anymore. But if you're familiar with Lexington, Kentucky area, it is pretty much a couple of spots down from the Chuck E. Cheese that's still in that old shopping center in Lexington. It's still there, the Chuck E. Cheese that is. But that is where you could find Service Merchandise in those days. Not to mention the other forgotten retail establishments of Lexington, Kentucky, like Hills. I don't know if anybody else remembers Hills, but it was kind of like a minor closeout store. And it was open all the way until like the late to mid 90s. And you would go in there and you would find stuff that you never caught on store shelves when it was actually supposed to be out. Like I remember going in there and I would find like the dinosaurs toys from the Jim Henson show. Like those action figures were there at Hills. I remember that's where I bought this case that was from like 1985 from the Superpowers collection. It was like one of those action figure cases, like a storage case. And I remember buying that in like 1996. And they had them, like a bunch of them. And I just remember thinking that I couldn't believe that it was there because Superpowers had passed me by like completely, the DC Comics line. And I was so regretful over that. Like every antique show or whatever, toy show that I ever went to, I was always chasing the Superpowers high. I was always looking for Superpowers figures because I knew that it was something I had completely missed out on. And I remember like seeing them like in baggies, complete, in pretty much perfect condition. for like $12 or $13 a piece, and thinking those were just absorbent prices that were just insane. And I couldn't figure out why anybody would possibly think it was okay to pay that much for a Superpowers figure. And looking back, yeah, that was quite a deal. But, you know, what can you do? What can you do? Not much. Oops. Almost goofed up on that part. Got too busy reminiscing about Superpowers. Too busy. All right. This goes up here. And I think what we're making is I think it's where the staircase comes upstairs. I think that's what we're making. Could be wrong. We will find out soon enough. More of that mystery building I'm always talking about, where you didn't really study the box that much, didn't really study the pictures that much. One of these days, that's really gonna bite me. Like I'm gonna start talking about, oh, it's so important not to be spoiled on the build, and make sure that you don't study it, you know, with a microscope before you get it, and I'll get it and it'll just suck. I'll get it and I'll be like, oh, this is garbage. I didn't know. I didn't want to ruin the experience, so I never even looked it up. I just thought it would be all right. I just trusted Lego. I shouldn't have. I almost bought some of the Batman sets the other day. They have a big push for those right now at Walmart. Apparently Walmart has first dibs on the distribution of those sets. And they had it in a little like end cap, like a big display with some really cool Pattinson artwork. Yeah, that's what we're going to say. Rob Pattinson, Batman Pattinson. And I thought that looked cool. But the more I looked at like the main set, which is the Batcave set, I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. It's so, I hate to say plain, but it's awful plain. And I mean, that's fine. But I don't think the aesthetic that they went for with that set was really for me. It just didn't seem like a Batcave. It looks more like a subway station or something. And that may be completely accurate to what they do with the film. And if the film is great or whatever in those scenes, then, you know, I'll probably eat my words and grab it or whatever. But I don't know. It's just, I think aesthetically something didn't ring true for me about that set, so I skipped it for now. Definitely a skip for now. Like I said, though, you never know. It may be one of those things where it suddenly clicks with me, like eventually or something, and I'll go back. Have you guys seen any of these Batman sets out? I mean, they seem fine, but I think the Batmobile looks good. Honestly, I think the best looking one is probably the Technic Batmobile set. And I never buy Technic anything. And that's, to me, that's where the money's at right there. Lego, they get their merchandising pushes ready really early compared to other companies for things. Like, they've probably had the Batman sets done since last year because the movie was delayed so much. So it's funny that they're now just like bursting at the seams trying to get these things out because they've probably just been sitting in a warehouse for forever. It wouldn't surprise me if you looked on the packaging and all the copyright information said 2020 or something on them, because I just have a feeling that they've been sitting there forever and ever and ever. I could be wrong, but I'd say they've been done. Definitely been done. So this part of the build is kind of confusing because of the angles that they're showing in the instruction manual. You can't exactly see what's going on down in here. It's just angled like this. So you're left having to infer where this should go because the angle in the book is like this. So I think I'm doing this right. But to be honest, I can't really be sure because of the funny decisions they've made about how to angle this. So I don't know. We'll just have to see if it works out like this. Oh, the first world problems of Lego collectors. Okay. And all right, another leap of faith right here. Still not entirely sure. This is definitely rare for this instruction manual to be kind of oblique in what they want you to do. Well, worst thing that could happen is I'll have to disassemble a little. Loving all these turquoise pieces. It's always great to get a slightly offbeat color in one of these sets. It's definitely what this is. So you see the weirdness going on down here? I don't really know what I was supposed to be doing down here. Maybe that'll be something I correct as it goes on, but yeah, I'll stop harping on that. Okay. All right. We are almost out of pieces for this bag, so very soon be time to transition to the next. Once again, more of that crazy swiftness for this set. It just goes by so quick. I never feel like I'm doing the same thing forever and ever and ever. And there's some great sets where that kind of monotony is a real thing. Okay. A little step right here. Ah. More of that weirdness going on down here. I busted one of these off. Okay. All right. Then we have that red kind of stair rug, I guess you could call it, continuing here. Love those little details. Starting to look like Coca-Cola stairs here. Okay, looks good. Oh, I see. So this is where we're going to have Buzz's tarantula kind of crawling around. And if you remember, there's several shots in the movie after Kevin accidentally unleashes the tarantula where you'll just kind of see, it'll sort of be there to remind you that it's around. So I think you could say that this is indicative of any of those particular shots, really. This one, this one. Okay. All right, so we're going to start hanging some of the family portraits here. We're going to have Kevin and I guess his dad. These portraits aren't too awful to place. They're just squares, but still. Like I always talk about, there's that negative space. That's always difficult to muster. You try to figure it out and get it equidistant all the way around. You don't want it to be. I thought I could use the tweezers here, but try that one more time. See if I can do that any better. Or try it 30 more times. I mean, anything's possible. Nope. Yeah, it's pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good. I don't think there's any such thing as perfect with sticker application. Never will be. At least that's what I keep telling myself. Okay, we got Kevin there. Then next up, we've got Kevin's dad in a circular frame. Now, it is important to go ahead and let's see, well, does it matter? No, it can be twisted around. Okay. If that was going to be locked into the same spot, then it would matter how you would put this sticker on, but it actually doesn't as long as I get it lined up pretty well with the edges. So that part doesn't matter. Okay, got that. It's a great little, I know he's not a minifig in the set. I kind of wish he was, but you know, you can't have it all, I guess. But that's a great little Lego likeness to that guy. It's a hate that he's not around, the actor's not around to see that come to fruition. That would have been, I'm sure, a big thrill for him to have seen himself turned into a minifig. I mean, who wouldn't love that, right? I always really empathized with the guys who were playing the dwarves in the Hobbit movies because there's this part in the behind the scenes material where they are presented by Lego with early versions of their minifigs, and they are just, I mean, I honestly think it's the most excited moment I see from the actors in the entire behind the scenes footage. So that should tell you a little something about the power of Lego minifigs. They certainly have their own allure. I guess it's a fantasy for a lot of people to be turned into a minifigure. I suppose with a little know-how, we could all customize one into ourselves. There's plenty of minifig customizers out there. All right, so you can see that our floor is kind of getting a little more completed here with the staircase. I'm still curious to see like a back angle of this because I don't think I did something right here, and it'll be okay when I fix it or whatever. But it's possible that I should have been building these like under the steps, and it'll be a super easy fix to take that apart if I need to. But that's just something I'll just have to keep an eye out for. I don't think it'll be a big deal one way or another if it comes down to fixing it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what I need to do. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Because if I don't do it now, I think that'll come home to roost a little quicker than I want it to. And then I'll have to disassemble a whole lot more. So I think I'll be a heck of a lot happier if I just go ahead and fix that. Just make sure I know what I'm doing before. Yeah, I should have. I think I should have had a better handle on what I was doing from the start. Okay, quick fix. Bear with me, friends, bear with me. Yeah, see, that just comes off as one piece, and I'll just be able to just put it back down. So I blame it not on myself, of course. I won't take any responsibility for anything. But it was the angle. It was the funny angle that the instructions were at. I couldn't exactly tell what they wanted me to do. And yeah, I think I know now what they were aiming for. Because it's just supposed to support these steps as they go up. At least I think. Yeah, that looks right to me. Okay. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay, that makes perfect sense now. You see, now these are the supports that go in under the steps. Just a quick fix, my friends. We'll act like it never happened. We'll never speak of it again. It's our secret. And if the police ask, just tell them that you have no idea what they're talking about. I watch this channel, Fanboys Forever, and every now and then they put together a Lego set, and they're not even a Lego channel, so I don't even know what their problem is. But remember, it's okay to say that. Just don't admit to me messing up. All right, so this is just kind of the framing that goes around here. Whoops. Had a notification pop up on my phone. I wasn't paying any attention. Okay. We just continue that framing around, and of course this is showing you where the brick walls are going to be built in right here. Just kind of marking those sections off for later. There we go. All right, so the next section is dedicated to building up those walls, and it's basically just going to be a lot of brick laying. So give me just a moment. I will return very shortly. I just actually have to get the power cord for the camera here. Totally forgot that I did not have it charged all the way. Hang on just a moment. All right, back at it. Okay. for our next bag. There we go. Now maybe the camera won't die halfway through. Bag number 12. So for this one, I believe this is actually when we start to get the bags that was in the big white box. All right. So, gotta pour these out, see what I'm doing. And here it is, bag 12. As you can see, the bag is mostly just bricks. And I mean bricks, so looks like we got some windows in there too. There's all those little transparent window panes. Little pieces out, and we're ready for more. So I will have to pay a little bit more attention to what I'm doing and not just have it be about how fast I can go, because I think it's really, really easy to mess all of this up because all these pieces are the same color. So I can definitely see this being easily ruined, or you would have to redo it. So let's hope I'm not a self-fulfilling prophecy here and I can get it together with ease. This is what actual builders of houses, this is what they say before they lay out the bricks. They're talking about how easy it is to get mixed up with different bricks. You have to be careful not to accidentally misbuild the house. So I'm sure that my years of Lego building would definitely prepare me to build a real house. Definitely. I'm gonna start putting that on a resume. So I can dig ditches and I can build Lego sets. There's really not much I can't do. I have a lot of talents. Chief among them is the ability to construct overpriced, giant adult-named Lego sets. It's a talent. I'll be here all week, thank you. So this is a pretty easy pattern here. It's just, you have a blank kind of 4-stud and then one of the actual brick pieces. So I'm glad that there's some uniformity to it. I take that back. This one actually switches to a 3 at this point. See? Self-fulfilling prophecy. So easy to get this mixed up in this section. It all looks the same. Unless you're counting studs, and I hate counting the studs on bricks. All right. Okay, that's correct. Okay. That. So then a brick piece, 3-stud, and a brick piece. Okay, not too bad. On the side, we've got a 2 flat. And then we've got a 4-stud and a brick piece. Now we're supposed to do some freehand, kind of just brick building. I'm assuming whatever we build here, we're going to plug in to that support. So, okay, got that assembled. Get my bricks turned around the right way here. Okay. We're starting to get kind of a slab of bricks here. It's just like I'm on the new Yankee Workshop. I was kind of a weird kid. I loved to watch those PBS like remodeling shows and stuff when I was little. The ones that would come on Sunday, and you would have Norm Abram, and he would do the new Yankee Workshop, and then he would also appear on This Old House with Bob Vila. So, of course, I was always more of a Norm Abram guy than a Bob Vila guy. Okay, got those. Okay, then we have some white. We have a white flat actually that goes up here. Oh, okay. This is actually for the interior detail here. Where we actually have an old rifle mounted right here. And you know what? I do think that that's in the movie. Yeah. Is this going to end up being where Buzz has his like BB gun and stuff? This might be it. I just may not have realized it when I was first assembling it. Because the truth is, I don't really know what the layout is going to shake out to be necessarily. So at this point, I'm just kind of guessing what I'm building. Yeah, I think what we're building right here are Buzz's shelves, where he's got what extreme, like ridiculous amount of stuff like crammed on all those shelves, which I always really liked as a kid, even though it was like a crazy amount of stuff. It was amazing to me for some reason. Something about Buzz's room. But I can't actually remember. What is Kevin's room even like in the movie? I can remember Buzz's room really clearly, but does Kevin have like something like about his bedroom that's notable? Or is Buzz the one with all the cool stuff? Like all the trading cards and everything else. I do remember Kevin shooting starting lineup figures. I think they were starting lineup figures, which were Kenner's like a range of sports figures. I think he does target practice with them with the BB gun, and they go down the laundry chute, which I was always fascinated by as a kid. Right. Yeah, he has to go to the attic, and he says he doesn't want to sleep with Fuller because he'll wet the bed. But I don't think Kevin's room like gets any play because of that. I don't think it's like much of a thing in the movie. And then he just spends most of the rest of the movie just jamming around other parts of the house. So that'd be something I need to go back and pay attention to this year when I watch it. All right. I like what they're doing with this. Yeah, the parents' room is prominent because that's where they have the crazy, we overslept, or where they get up, because they have like a big 4-post bed, I think, and of course their bedroom is like the definition of like 90s bedrooms, so It's like the pinnacle of that 90s, like Victorian, like subdivision house. You know, sometimes I wonder, and this is true of a lot of John Hughes movies. I know that Home Alone is also a Chris Columbus film, but this is definitely true of some John Hughes movies, that there's always quite a bit of material left on the cutting room floor. It makes me wonder how many deleted scenes there are in Home Alone. And not only that, but do any of them like feature Kevin's room like fairly prominently? Maybe there was more stuff that we were meant to see. Usually John Hughes, he would kind of overwrite movies, and there would be a bunch of material that would eventually just have to be left out. So I don't see why Home Alone would be any different. I don't know what kind of creative control he had over the movie. I know that Chris Columbus probably, maybe he might have been a little more liberal with some of the cuts and things since it wasn't his script. But I don't know. It's all speculation, man. Okay. That's a perfectly serviceable corner here. Serviceable. All right, and I think this is where we start building some of these shelves. And what's great is it's looking like that I think there's an action feature built into it to like actually make them break away. Because if you remember, Kevin's climbing the shelves and they give way with him. So that's awesome. At least I think that's what's happening here. I think. Could be wrong. Oops. Missed that one. Okay. All right, and then I think we put in the little pin here. Yeah, and that's going to allow it to kind of pivot down so that the shelf can kind of do this drop motion right here. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. And some more of that nice micro building that I always talk about how much I enjoy. I was always just loving all the crazy color of all the clutter in the movie. Okay. And this is this where the tarantula was at? Because we have a little kind of clear, maybe it is. Maybe it is. Okay, so there's one shelf down. Time to build another. It's that crazy micro building. This is one thing I never would have thought that I would have been building at minifig scale. Buzz's shelves. If that's what this is, I think it's what it is, but who knows? I love to be blissfully ignorant when I build these things. We'll see. I know that Buzz was on the second floor somewhere, so this could definitely be his room. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, got that. This just looks like more of just a random shelf here. I don't really think too much is going on. So each of these holes is for one of the shelves, and I think all of them are supposed to have that breakaway element to them. Okay, so I think this one is supposed to go there, and this one goes there. I think there is one more shelf we're supposed to build. This one's slightly different. Let's start with this. Once again, we build the supports for the little breakaway mechanism. Okay, got those. Almost looks like a little cannon, doesn't it? And here we go. Okay, got our pin in. And this one has the least detail of all. It's just a bare shelf. And so, must not be a shelf in my room because I'm using every bit of shelf space I've got. I see. So when they're all together like this, then you, all right. And so clearly something's going to go in there to support those. Yep, that's what we're building next. The mechanism that kind of supports the whole thing. Okay, so we start with these 1 stud squares. Put 3 of those on. Okay. Actually, just 2. And then this top one goes on this. Then we take this plunger here and we put through this. You have a little cannonball kind of piece that plugs in. Yeah, and so this plunger will go through down here and keep the shelves up when you don't want them to fall. So you just push that through, and there you go. It's a simple mechanism, but it should work beautifully. Yep, and then when you push it through, it should straighten them back up. Yeah, and just yeah, that works. Okay, great. You know, it's funny, it's only when I got a little older and I watched Uncle Buck that I could see kind of John Hughes' penchant for slapstick and the origins for, I don't know, like it's when Uncle Buck is going through like the closet when he first gets to the house and the entire contents of the closet just completely fall on him. And while he's just standing there. And it really does look like it physically hurt John Candy. I don't care how light that stuff was. It just looks like it hits him in a monsoon. And really, when it happens to Kevin in Buzz's room, that's almost a straight up sequel to that. I mean, it just seems like pretty much the same kind of comedy beat. But it's kind of funny because when it happens to Kevin, if I'm not mistaken, I think that it switches to very obviously a little person, a dwarf in Kevin's costume to like be the stunt person to endure all of this stuff falling on him. So it was, of course, never going to be an actual kid. Nowadays, it would probably be like a CGI Kevin, and it would look horrible. There's still, I mean, modern movies and TV shows in 2021, when they go for the CGI body double, oof, it's pretty bad. I saw that recently in a TV show, a really high-budget Netflix show where the digital body doubles, oh my gosh, everything had looked so good. And they broke out those full-on digital body doubles, a la like Superman Returns 2006. It was bad. Of course, I've made no secret of my love for installing these tiny little transparent windows in these little white frames. I love it. There's just a tactile sense to it. Satisfying little click. Great stuff. It's kind of funny how Harry and Marv are just kind of back there watching us build the house. They're like coveting every brick that we put in. I imagine Harry has got one of those like old school calculators where it has a little feed out like of paper, like the receipt paper. and he's calculating the value of all of the individual Lego pieces. He's doing the price per part ratio. That's hard to say. Price per part ratio. He is calculating it right now, trying to see just how much Lego he can rip off. You know, maybe that would actually be a fun project. It's funny, I've been sitting here making this Lego set. Never once did I really stop to think, maybe that would actually be a fun little thing they could do to homage the first Home Alone film without it feeling like something cheap or like a ripoff. Like, maybe, just maybe, like a little like CGI, like Lego special that's kind of, I don't know, I don't know if parodying a comedy necessarily works. It's almost a little too much going on right there. And I don't know if that just cancels out the jokes and just leaves it unfunny. But I would probably check it out if Lego did like a little riff of some of the main gags from Home Alone. I think it could be funny, especially if they play it like the old Lego games, where there's no dialogue, there's nothing. It's just the characters making funny little noises and just kind of like pantomiming famous movie scenes. I think that would actually be really funny. Well, now that I've thought of it, I want to see it, so that would be cool. I never watched any of the Lego Scooby-Doo stuff, but I've always been curious about it because I collected most of those sets, but I didn't actually check out any of the like tie-in stuff they made. Yeah, reverse POV. I think that the Wet Bandits maybe have a lawsuit on their hands with their mistreatment at the hands of Kevin. Of course they couldn't go after Kevin. They'd have to go after the obviously rich parents. Now that would be a funny sequel idea. If once Kevin grows up, Harry and Marv attempt to take him to court over like damages, and like they're disabled now because of all of the horrendous injuries that they suffered. But the truth is John Hughes is dead, and I just, if John Hughes were alive and maybe he wrote it, he could maybe find some kind of comedy in that somewhere. But now that he's just not around, I just don't know. I just don't know if that could be funny. I think sometimes we bend over backwards trying to find ways to make things we like continue. And sometimes it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. Just leave it alone. Let it rest. Let it rest. Still, though, I'd be first in line if somebody said that Macaulay Culkin wanted to do something with it. And honestly, that's what they already should have done if they were going to do anything. Yeah. Yeah, it's like when they're trying to explain it, it cuts to like hilarious, exaggerated Lego. And they're just in the courtroom, pouring their hearts out. They're trying to get compassionate release from prison. And Harry and Marv keep like trying to pay off doctors to like get them doctor's notes to like say that they have all of these like morbidities and all these like problems, and they need to get out of jail because they're dying. Yeah, Cousin Vinny, so we can get in, some Joe Pesci stuff in there, which actually that would be an incredible parody on top of a parody there, because then you could have, I don't know, it would kind of be Joe Pesci's like lampooning some of the stuff he did in My Cousin Vinny, where he tries to get up and he tries to like name off all of these like crazy obscure facts to the judge, and it like wows everybody, but he tries it and it's all just made up bull crap. Who doesn't love My Cousin Vinny? Here's a movie you could ruin with a title change. All you'd have to do to ruin the title of the movie would be like, My Cousin Vinny is a lawyer. Title ruined. My Cousin Vinny got me out of trouble. Heck, you could even just take out the word Vinny. It would ruin the title of the movie. My Cousin. That's the title. Sounds like an independently funded European film. My Cousin. Also known as Les Cousins for French-speaking audiences. Les Cousins. That'll be my next project. Laying some brick. You know, I think the next great advancement for Lego is to have a way to simulate the gray cement between the bricks. That's where it becomes unreasonable. We were asking for too much. The people at Lego just let us know to forget it. Yeah, that's as far as we go. Thank you. Thank you. Better yet, you get a little bag of like some kind of gray goo that you're supposed to put between the bricks to simulate it. Of course, it's a disaster. It ruins the set. It ruins the bricks. Once it dries, it's a disaster. It's the nastiest you can imagine. It's kind of like those old, old monster making sets you could get back in the day. Like, what were they? Creepy crawlers? I have a lot of fond memories of creepy crawlers, but not necessarily of me like buying a bunch of creepy crawlers, but mostly of the commercials. It's funny to have nostalgia for something you didn't even really own that much. I did own, yes, a couple of creepy crawler kinds of things. See stickers and race you more. Yes. It turns out that they want you to sticker in the mortar, and they give you the most insane, little, super thin stickers. The idea is you've got to fit them into the grooves, just perfectly. And if they messed up at the factory when they cut it, you are up the creek, my friend. It will not fit, and you are just out of luck. You are completely out of luck. Not put those in the wrong place. Okay, right here. This one is actually going to be an arched window. So, yeah. Make sure I've got it turned around correctly. Put that right there. Oh, yeah. Love it. You know, after I'm done building this set, I think I'm really going to go back and kind of get a better appreciation for the way the house looked. Because, getting to build a little facsimile of it is just so much fun. Yeah, always. The stickers would never work. The mortar stickers would be the worst sticker crisis of my life. When I write a book about my Lego collecting, it's just going to be called Sticker Crisis. Let's add a little drama to it. Sticker Crisis 3 a.m. Sticker Crisis, all is lost. Sticker Crisis, God forgive me for I have sinned. Sticker Crisis, the hard goodbye. Sometimes I think I like just coming up with goofy titles for stories more than actually writing stories. And their eyes were watching God as the stickers melted into the abyss. Sticker Crisis, God save the Queen. I am anxiously looking forward to The Crown coming back on Netflix. I burned through season 4 as fast as I could. and was left wanting much, much, much more. It's a show that they literally cannot make it fast enough, is The Crown. Yeah. I think we need to come up with some kind of Latin word for that one. I guess that's what all those phobias are in. Latin. Latin. Sticker crisis and the lack of serotonin. Serotonin sticker crisis. I honestly thought this would be completely monotonous and really take forever when it come to laying these bricks on, but it really hasn't. However, if I keep putting the wrong pieces on, maybe it will. Ah. I did my Eternals review on the channel yesterday. That's what I did instead of live streaming Legos. I worked on that for most of the day. And I think I did all right quantifying the very, very odd, very bizarre experience of watching the Eternals, but I strongly suggest all of you do it. It is unlike anything I have ever seen. Truly, as bizarre a movie as I think I've watched in years. Oh, stickers, thou hast let me down. You have led me down a path that I cannot follow. All right, so done with that bag. But oddly, I am left with this. And usually you would never be left with something like this. So I'm immediately suspicious that I have messed up maybe on the staircase. What have I done? What have I done here? I think I missed a little spot. Let's see. Yeah, I think I did. Lego's never just gonna give you a piece like that. Ever, ever, ever. They are far too stingy these days to allow that to be a thing. Okay, all right. I think I was supposed to have put this up here. Okay. And then, supposed to have had a little rug piece right there. And then I believe okay. All right, I see what I did now. This little piece needs to come out. This one goes in. And this one goes up here. Problem solved. Yeah, if it was that size in the movie, I think that there would have been an even bigger problem. I think as soon as he had unleashed it on Harry and Marv, then it would have proceeded to have killed the neighborhood. So, all right, so I think bag 13 might be all about maybe possibly the bathroom. I see a lot of that turquoise. I think that's what I'm getting from the instructions when it has a little preview image there of what it is. We actually get a door in this bag. Got all these. Yes. Now that would have been a sight to have seen. Although there could be a crossover idea in there somewhere. Maybe Kevin's home alone. Mom and Dad are desperate for someone to watch him or check on him. They hire someone of questionable origin, and it turns out that it is Beetlejuice, and he has to babysit Kevin while the parents are trying to get back home. So, there you go. My experience with Beetlejuice is mostly with the cartoon, actually. When I was a kid, I watched like every single episode of the cartoon that they had made. And so by the time I was a teenager and I actually watched the real movie, I'm embarrassed to say that I had all sorts of incorrect like perceptions of Beetlejuice and Olivia and the relationship. And I remember there was things about the actual movie that kind of like threw me off a little and that I wasn't getting at first. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, Coraline. That's a great movie. Love Coraline. Yeah, it was super embarrassing to watch the movie and be like, well, what? Because for all those years, I had just watched the cartoon. Maybe somebody did that with like, yeah, me too. Maybe somebody did that with like Ghostbusters or something. Maybe they had only ever watched real Ghostbusters, and by the time they watched the actual movie, they were all confused about why things, which is almost sort of my experience. I was way more familiar with real Ghostbusters than I was with the movies, like way more. Probably for good reason. The actual movie probably would have scared me quite a bit as a kid. I do remember when they finally had the network premiere of Ghostbusters 2. I can't remember what network it was on. So I was pretty excited to watch it. But by that time, I was so fickle about having seen, the real Ghostbusters and watched it so much. And this is embarrassing. But I remember being like, they got Egon's hair color all wrong. He's supposed to be blonde. That is, honest to God, exactly what I thought. I just couldn't, in my head, get it right about the order of the products and what came first and what was based on what. Of course, Egon was always my favorite Ghostbuster, from real Ghostbusters into the movies. And as I got older, I kind of developed an appreciation for Ray. But Egon was always, like, as a kid, definitely my childhood favorite Ghostbuster. Which made it incredibly sad for me when Harold Ramis passed away. Because for one thing, I felt a lot of anger and a lot of resentment that they couldn't get Ghostbusters 3 off the ground. And now there would never, ever be a way to do like a complete roster of the Ghostbusters in a comeback. But I have a feeling that this new movie was made in such the right spirit that there's going to be a way. That's just what I think. I think there's a way. And that this movie is, Afterlife appears to be kind of built around that grief. It leans into it. You know, that, wow, isn't it such a shame that Egon is gone? And that is kind of the starting point of the movie. To me, that's making something with the right intention. That's coming from a sincere place and not like a completely commercial place. And it feels like it has a reason to exist, which I think is something that a lot of modern movies are struggling with. I think they don't have a reason to exist. Halloween Kills, no reason to exist. None. Don't get me wrong, there were things about it, you know, that I like just fine, but there's Halloween Kills brings nothing new to the Halloween franchise. Absolutely nothing. It was just, you know, felt like a regurgitation. By the way, look at this bed. This is great. I didn't even realize that's what it was at first, but now I can see what they're doing. It is an unmade bed where you've got the cover and then it even drapes down. I mean, this is so cool. I would call this an impressionistic mini build. It's an impression of something that you would see in real life. And we're not even done with it, so how cool is this? How cool is this? Wonderful. All right, then we complete the illusion of the covers kind of draping off the bed right there. Great, and this is where the posts will go, so that'll be an even better illusion by the time we're done with it. Then we have also the white cover kind of streaming down, which I think, look at that. Perfect. And to me, and this is a funny thing to say, but this feels like a build that I could learn something from. You know, this is just so novel, what they're doing here, that I feel like I'm actually learning a little something about how to produce these kinds of more organic shapes in Lego. Cyrano de Bergerac. Did I read that correctly? What is that exactly? I don't even have a clue. Maybe I misread it. Maybe there's more to that I picked up on. Ooh, bedposts are nice. Look at that. Cool. We'll make 4 of these. Oops. Now I'm whistling all the Ghostbusters themes. Shame they didn't find a way to get the Ghostbusters firehouse back out there, but I know there's a lot of people that missed out on that would love to get a hold of it. Yeah. Yeah, these are to the limit. They're that 90s extreme. It's when your bedpost looks like bathtub fixtures. you know you've arrived in 90s Victorian architecture. You know, I do wonder how old the house was in Home Alone. Like, I wonder if it's an old house and they just kind of set dressed it to be as modern at the time, like kind of 90s Victorian house. Or had it just been built? Was it relatively new? And here's an even better question. How did they figure out that they wanted to shoot at this particular house? Yeah. Well, you know, it does have some of that kind of aesthetic to it, doesn't it? Get your 4 posts here. Okay, look at that. Oh, that's nice. Beautiful. If I was a Lego minifigure, and this is the house I'd want to live in. Okay. Right here. It goes, yep. Right there. The placement of the bed, fantastic. If I'm not mistaken, I think that is supposed to be Kevin's parents' bed that he commandeers, which I always thought was a good point of the script, because everybody knows that little kids, I think that they think it's like a big deal when they go to like sleep in their parents' bed, especially if they're sick or something like that. So it only makes sense that not only is Kevin going to take advantage of this gigantic, nice bed while they're gone, but it's also kind of a subtle thing that it's like when you have a bad dream and you go and get into bed with your parents, that it's also Kevin kind of having a crisis and sleeping in the bed out of, loneliness, and it becomes less of a power play and more of just, I don't know, it's a very sweet sentiment that I think is nestled into the movie. You just have to be thinking about it for it to work. Oh, okay. Yeah, we are making the little nightstand right beside the bed. And let's see. Okay. Yeah, we have the popcorn that's on the bed, which is utilizing this piece, which I think is, I'm not sure, it works very well as popcorn in this tiny little mini build, micro scale. But I don't think that's like the actual intention of the piece. Maybe ice cream for all I know. And we are going to build the infamous alarm clock in mini build fashion. Exciting. I feel like John Williams' scores for Harry Potter and Home Alone share a kind of DNA, like way more than John Williams' other scores do, even. I guess it's sort of like the DNA and the kind of fingerprint that's shared between like the Indiana Jones and the Star Wars scores. There's some similarity in feel, but for this, I really do feel like that if you'll go back, and especially listening to John Williams scores for the first 2 movies, especially the first movie for the Sorcerer/Philosopher's Stone, you'll hear beats in it that are very, very, very Home Alone. And I think it's because they're both movies featuring like a child lead, like an adventurous, like child, like lead, like family movie. So I think John Williams, there's a certain, I don't know, he uses, and then there's parts of the Hook score that are also similar. So it's, to me, there's kind of a trilogy of family movie John Williams scores. And didn't John Williams also do the music for the Goonies as well, maybe? Or am I wrong on that? Maybe that was somebody else. But I do feel like there's some John Williams when it comes to the family movie scores that he's done, like the adventure comedies. I think there's something to that. I love how this is a massive, like 90s alarm clock. This is great. It's gigantic. It's hard to believe we ever had like a piece of technology in our homes that was solely dedicated to waking you up. Like now it feels just like an afterthought on your phone. But this was a piece of technology literally meant to do one thing and serve that purpose for many, many, many years. Now imagine just for a moment if you and your family's fortune had been made on the alarm clock industry. And then circa what, 2004, 2003, you start noticing that something is very, very wrong with sales. And it's just this horrible moment, this realization of just pure dread. And you realize that your industry is practically over. Maybe I read into that too much, but I'm waiting for the alarm clock mogul to comment down below and be like, you know what, that was me. It was horrible, but our family got through it. That's what we'll say. We'll say that Kevin's dad is an alarm clock like mogul. He was testing an experimental alarm clock that was guaranteed to not be disrupted by power failure. And then in true horrifying fashion, he figures out it doesn't work that night when they're needing to get to Paris. Exactly. Our phones have made so many other like pieces of technology obsolete. Even cameras, really. When really at this point, only people who are professionals or prosumer are actually buying individualized cameras. I mean, now the purchase of a phone is the purchase of a camera. And that's one of the main selling points of any of them. It's just another funny thing. You can go back and watch these movies of the 80s and 90s, and it's just a whole nother vibe. It's a whole other thing. We have some connector points on here. Of course, we know what that means. There'll be some more pictures hung on the walls very soon. Some accoutrement. Okay, got those. I'm just putting together Lego sets, living my best life. Ringing in the Christmas season with a Home Alone Lego set. My nephew has already assembled his. He has got it all together. He's been working nonstop, trying to make it happen. And indeed, he has. I do not possess the energy to get it done at quite that rate. I think for me, I just kind of just more like have to sit around and talk and just like, discuss it. I don't know though. I feel like that's what I'm buying these days. I'm buying the fun of putting it together. All right, we have a couple of new family photos. One of them is Kevin's mom. It's a companion piece to the one we saw earlier of the dad. And this is done on one of those circular pieces, those little platforms. I wonder if Lego has sent Catherine O'Hara one of these sets, or at least sent her a minifigure. Because you know that she would probably have to be thrilled. Oh, how funny is this? It really does have a likeness to her. It really does. So, good on them. I made my family disappear. Oh, and poor Buzz. They have, oh my, they have done poor Buzz a disservice. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Poor Buzz. Oh, poor Buzz. Well, Reese, that is a great question. I have been mulling that over. And I'll tell you, the bizarrety of the Eternals has really impacted me to where it is really inspiring me to maybe grab some of those sets. So I may be putting together the Celestial Arishem. I may be doing that set. Maybe doing the Domo, their ship that they jam around in the Eternals. And really, honestly, and I'll show you, it's just right over here, just off camera, along with some Ninja Turtles. I still need to finish the Pirates of Barracuda Bay. So, in some ways, I almost feel like I can't let myself do anything else until I get that done, because I don't know why I got out of the groove on that, but I just did, and I just couldn't hardly get myself back into it. Then there's another option. There is I don't know how familiar you are with it, but there is this Lego theme that has been a Chinese exclusive for a couple of years, and it's now just finally coming to America via Amazon. And it was available in America through the Lego store only for a couple of years. And it's this theme called Lego Monkey Kid. And I bought several of those sets, some of which I have not put together. And it's something that I would really like to do on here. The main set that I'm really wanting to put together from that theme is something called Legendary Flower Fruit Mountain. And these are all based on the Chinese folklore Journey to the West. And I would really like to put that one together. So maybe that. So there's about 3 different directions I could go in. But it's good to have options. It's good to have variety. I should really trip myself up and just start doing like alternating my builds like every single time I live stream. So then it's incredibly confusing. It's horribly off-putting. No one's really sure what I'm doing. It's like each night is a surprise. Yeah, those are, and it's insane. This set, if you look it up, Legendary Flower Fruit Mountain, it's absolutely incredible. And it's not very often that I buy something that doesn't have any kind of license attachment. It doesn't have any sort of, connection. I really didn't even have that much of a connection to the Chinese folklore, Journey to the West. But this just impressed me so much as an art piece. This beautiful mountain, all of these waterfalls, the folklore element did intrigue me. It kind of brought me into it. And it just, I don't know, oh, look at this. I've got some hairy kind of damage going on here, me trying to press this in. It's like when he has the M on his hand from trying to grab the hot doorknob. Harry, I feel your pain. Oh, this is cool. I was kind of wondering what was going on over here. Yeah, it's kind of like a little fireplace nook right there. I like that. Very cool. Man, I forgot about a lot of these details in the McAllister bedroom. I don't think I've thought about this stuff in years. And by golly, I'm going to be looking for all of it this year when I go back and watch the movie. Now that I've had a deep dive into getting some experience of building their home, I think it's time for me to look out for these little details because I just wasn't paying attention to them before. Imagine being the designer of this set and freeze framing the movie at every spot they could and trying to figure out room layouts. And I mean, I know that it sounds challenging, but I bet it was also an incredible blast for them to sort of figure out okay, what do we do? What's important? What's not for this room? Which parts of the house do you capture? Which ones do you leave in the cutting room floor? And keep in mind, the actual people at Lego have a twofold kind of mission when they're doing a Lego Ideas set. Because then it's like, okay, how much of this do we scrap that this designer had already created? How much do we completely redo? Because they've had mixed results with that. Some people are a little upset. Yeah, same here. Daniel Stern is just, and like I said, I think even though, I'm a huge Joe Pesci fan, I don't think enough credit is ever given to Daniel Stern, like how he plays off of Joe Pesci in the movie. I mean, they're an incredible comic duo, and it's just really, really funny. It really is. All right. So here we have kind of this funny little lamp thing going here. Oh, I see. This is what the gray thing was that we put on the floor earlier. There we go. Yeah. Their funny little lamp that they have right outside the bed. Okay. And apparently we're building the door now that leads to the bedroom. And this is kind of the first indication I've seen of actually separating out some of the rooms. And it's going to be fun to see how all of that gets like, I don't know, sectioned out, I guess is the right term. It's almost like we're looking at a blueprint of the house and kind of that overhead view, which is always so fun. Okay, and we have the door frame here. Got that in. It's always funny that Lego doorknobs just have a giant hole in them. Not always. Sometimes there's actual doorknob pieces. But every now and then they just decide, you know what? It's just one of these circular studs. Okay, there's our door, our entryway. This is funny. It's going to be really, really, really crammed in that bedroom. Yeah, it's going to be super crammed. They're using, and honestly, this is what I like. I don't like big wide open spaces and like dollhouse builds like this. I want it to use every available bit of real estate. I want it to just be jam-packed with as much detail as they can possibly cram in all these little spaces. I mean, think about it. It's not like you get, 10 minifigs to try to like fit into this. You've got Kevin and, you're kind of just letting him have a run of the house as Harry and Marv kind of chase him around. You need to even keep it wide open. Okay, so this next little bit, we are starting to, this is going to be the bathroom that's going to be in front of the bedroom. So for this next little bit, we're kind of tiling the bathroom floor and going from there. I'm always fascinated to see how bathrooms come together in these builds because it requires kind of a different kind of level of, I don't know, there's a different like aesthetic to it. You're tiling. And then we have kind of a green, like sea green and blue is going on here. I'm already liking how those colors are coming together. Are there any more bathroomy colors in the world than this? Funny part is I guarantee you if I go back and look at the scene where Kevin burns himself with the aftershave, and I'll probably see these exact colors on the floor. At this point, I'm just trusting Lego that they know what's up. Okay. So now we're going to be building the sink that's actually where Kevin has his infamous scream moment. See, I love just like little sink builds, like little things like that. I think that's where the true artistry of like minifig scale kind of comes to life when you're building like little appliances and sinks. And we have two little white flowers here that I'm sure are pulling double duty as being like pipes. So always great to see them use those. I think one of my favorite elements that I've ever seen Lego reuse a million different ways has been the lightsaber piece. It was really funny when they introduced the lightsaber piece. You know, it was kind of a big deal. And this was at a time when Lego wasn't quite as versatile as it is today. And so then you're always seeing lightsabers pop up in different like builds and like on ships and things and turrets. All of a sudden you've got little lightsaber pieces. You know, I don't think that the business relationship between Lego and Star Wars, I don't know if that's ever going to go away. Like, I think that is just too mutually beneficial to go away. Why would it? It'd be the stupidest move either one of them could make. Oh yeah, it's looking sync-like. And this piece, I'm not even really sure. It almost seems like it's meant to be the start of a sink. I'm not sure what else it would be used for. I guess like a curved surface on a vehicle or something. Okay, and now behind the sink, we've got some wall stuff going on. Some mounting spots here. Okay. All right. Okay, got these. Okay. Got it. And this looks like it's going to be the bathroom mirror. And I think this is one of the reflective stickers that'll just go on this. Here we go, the most detailed sticker of them all. That is very reflective. See, you can see my phone really well in the thing. All right. A little low for my tastes. At least Lego stickers are tough. It's not a big deal to peel one back and then reapply. Let's try that again. This is starting to look like a dental tool with a big like reflector. Yeah, that's pretty good. Not bad. Perfect. All right. If you weren't OCD about stickers before, you will be after you watch me. I'm a bad influence. Okay, we have little like shelves under the mirror there. This is unbelievable. Gold faucet here. All right, so that finishes out our sink. Put that right there. Oh yeah, looking nice, looking nice. Then all we're doing is just building out the walls beside of it. Easy, easy, nothing to it. Okay. Then I missed one of these earlier. I needed to add another 3 long. That just blocks off that wall. I also missed one of these. Just add that in there. Then we'll block out that wall. Okay, we got that. We'll do a little finishing. Here's one section. 2 more. 2. All right, and now we get to build the all the little things that are sitting in the bathroom. Here is the infamous aftershave bottle that Kevin uses and burns himself with. I will admit that as a kid, I didn't get that joke. I mean, I thought it was funny that he had hurt himself in the bathroom, but I couldn't tell you why, like what it was or why he even put it on his face. I didn't have a clue. Okay, and now we get to use our toothbrush sticker. Yeah. If you remember, this is the one that Kevin accidentally steals from the little supermarket. There's a question that I have is, I wonder what little store, or if it was a chain or something. Like, where did they film that stuff? Well, you know what? That's not in the supermarket, right? That's in like the little, I don't know, it's almost like a little gift shop or something he goes into. I don't really know what you would call that little place. There we go. Remember, this is, I believe this is the toothbrush that he's asking the clerk all the crazy questions about, like if it's approved by the American Dental Association and all this. Okay, toothbrush and aftershave there. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that. It does kind of seem like a little drugstore in the movie. Okay. I'm not exactly sure what I put over here. Is this like a little plant that's in the bathroom, maybe? I have to pay more attention when I watch the movie again. I suppose that's what that's supposed to be, like a little bathroom plant. All right, so we're now doing one of the doors that leads off to the side. And we're actually going to be stickering this door. It's with this. Oleksiy Starazuk, number 3. Something like a comic book, I guess. I don't know. This one has really got me scratching my head. I know that it's supposed to be Buzz's room. That's the door we're doing this for. But beyond that, I have no idea what that poster's supposed to be. when I rewatch the movie, I have a feeling that I'll go back and whatever is on his door is probably something licensed and not something Lego could like get the license for without having to pay big money. So I have a feeling this is just something that's kind of just like made up that they just threw in on there like for a funny like room decoration. Yeah, I guess that's what it is anyway. All right, and then there's another door frame, and we are almost through with this bag. Okay. Yeah, I put it on a little backwards, I think. Try that the other way. The doorknob on here. And on this one, we have the keep out sign, which I do think is accurate to the film. I think that's just about how it looked. None of these door stickers are like super precise, which if you're a crazy person like me, is sort of aggravating. Because you're sort of left to kind of infer how to put the sticker on and just kind of like eye it about it being like kind of a, I'm just trying to like match what they did. But it's not the easiest thing in the world to get it exactly the way that they have it. Maybe like that. Yeah, I think that's about right. Yeah, it's about right. It's not something I'm going to get too caught up with. Okay. We have this. And this is just continuing those wall dividers. We're going to seal that with a little bit of white. Start to like Bob Ross over here. Take a little titanium white. Just mix that right in. And beat the devil out of him. All right. Then that, let me see. Looks like, yeah, that just plugs right in. There we go. So now you have the keep out door to Buzz's room. And the bathroom layout over here, I imagine there'll be another kind of division somehow or another right here. Yeah, the second floor is coming together really nicely. We have some really iconic stuff going on. Okay, looks like we're gonna get to use one of my favorite stickers here really soon. This is the last little build that we have of the bag. We have kind of a part of the wall, but the great part is the decoration that goes on this particular wall. Because if you look, Buzz's true love is going to be plastered right on it, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Got that. Got this. Okay. We have the generic picture frame. Okay, that goes down. Now here's the lovely, lovely Buzz's girlfriend here. Which is just a boy dressed up as a girl in the movie. Because apparently Chris Columbus felt that it was way too mean to try to get some little girl and then have Kevin say something like woof when he sees the picture. And I agree, that would have been way too mean. that wouldn't have been in very good taste. But as it stands, we can all laugh at it. All right. Plug that up right there. Okay, so I think what that leads us with is bag 14. And I think the purpose of bag 14 is just to build out Buzz's room a little bit more. But as it stands, this is looking really nice. We have the house back here looking good. And I think it's all coming together really, really well. So I was impressed by all of the fun little things that were just in the series of bags that we did tonight. I did not expect that there would be that many fun little surprises and nods to the movie. It's just kind of the gift that keeps on giving with this set. So yeah, I've of course enjoyed getting to build with you all tonight. Of course, I should be back tomorrow night to do a little bit more Lego building with you all. So thanks everybody for watching. Appreciate you guys for sticking with me. And of course, God bless you and yours, and I'll see you on Fanboys Forever. Take care. Good night. Bye.